Today on Safe Prep, our everyday carry. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome back to Safe Prep. Today we're going to talk about my everyday carry, also called an EDC. Now everybody's EDC is a little bit different, and mine is no different. So let's start off with the bag. So I'm in and out of multiple vehicles with the job I do every day, into my vehicle, into other vehicles. So plus this is something I'm able to move between personal vehicles at the house if we're taking my wife's car for something. So this is a Moab Rush 511 tactical sling bag. It's 11 liters. I've had this thing for several years. I have just about outgrown it just because I like to carry a bunch of things. But it's a very nice pack, run you about $70. I'll be sure to link this in the comments. Several sections on it. It's got a zippered pouch on that side. It's got a smaller pouch here on the top. A protected pouch that would be good for a pair of eyeglasses or sunglasses. There is a concealed carry portion that is Velcro that's kind of hidden. And then there's your large main compartment with a couple of zippered pockets in those. And then you have another zippered pocket on the very front, which you can get a whole lot of stuff in. It does have the military webbing on the outside. Also has spots for Velcro patches should you choose to put those on there. So I like to have some additional items in my everyday carry just because I'm in between vehicles so much and away from my personal vehicle a lot, just to give me some peace of mind. So let me start off with a few things that generally are on my person. And this is a true everyday carry. It's what you got on you. So some sort of a multi-tool, and this is a true brand. Actually got this on one of our vacations. Very inexpensive, small, but has consistently gotten the job done. I don't like my pockets to necessarily feel too bulky, so something that size has worked well for me, and you'll see I carry a normal multi-tool in my bag. A small flashlight that fits great in my pocket, that stays with me day and night. I'm a big proponent of pepper spray. This is the Pepper Gel made by Sabre. It's one of the better brands. It's police grade. Got a protective spot right there. You can lift that up and fire it. I've never had an issue with this going off in my pocket, and you can see it's pretty worn because I've had it in there for probably going on a year. I like to have less than lethal options. When something bad happens, it's not always a firearm that needs to be deployed, so I like to have that option with me. And then the other option for your everyday carry, personal choice, is going to be whichever firearm you choose to carry, considering your state and local laws on your concealed carry and your licensure, and between states and stuff like that. So I carry the M&P Bodyguard 380 with the Crimson Trace laser. I'll be good and show you guys that the weapon's clear. Nobody else up here with me. Laser will blink, or you can get a steady laser, but this conceals very nicely. I've just got a Uncle Mike's soft pocket pouch, just kind of subdues the shape of the gun. I've never had an issue. Typically stays in my right front pocket. So I like everything close. So these are the items that I typically have on my person. So let's get into the actual bag. Like I said, I carry a lot of extra stuff just because of my situation. Everybody that's in preparedness, or if you're thinking about going into preparedness, we all plan and prepare for different scenarios, and that's going to be different according to those scenarios. So I have found it that I never have everything I want in a bag or a kit. I'm always looking at it. I'm always considering changing it. There's equipment I would like to have that I can't necessarily afford to buy yet. And we're trying to prepare in multiple areas, so sometimes you run into those budget constraints. So let's just start off with this front pocket, and I'm going to skip over stuff that is not survival related, because this is basically a bag that I keep a lot of my personal stuff in. So, but there is a lot of survival stuff in here. I'm going to pull this out first. This is some of my most important gear as far as survival goes. I'll say this as well. You see these other packs behind me. This is my lightweight, ultralight, 72-hour, basically more of a get-home bag than it is anything. Very lightweight, not a whole lot of equipment. Something that I can get from point A to point B as quickly as I can without, running into trouble, and nothing worse than overpacking and not being able to carry packs that you carry should not be more than 20% of your body weight. So I'm aiming for about 19 or 20 pounds on that. So we'll see what happens. But some of this gear that is with me every day, should there be an event or a disaster or whatnot, some of this gear is going to get transferred into this bag. And I know that ahead of time. So because I can't afford to buy a million pieces of equipment to put in every single bag. So as long as I can remember to take the things out of here, I'm good to go. So this is a Maxpedition pouch. They make some really great gear, and this thing is just stuffed to the brim. Great zippers, lots of organization. You can get these in any size or configuration, just about any color. So I'll link the specific one I have. It's been awesome. Small pouch on the outside. I've got some man-made fire tinder in there. These little bitty woven materials. You can actually break that one piece up and use it for about 3 separate fires to get those started. So it does have a pocket on the outside. Let's look on the inside and see what we got going on. That's how everything looks with it taken out and open. So, fire. The easiest way to start a fire is going to be with a lighter. Now, if you look at my Bic lighter, it's the good Bic lighters. It is taped up at the top with duct tape, and that is to keep the valve from discharging all the gas. And when I need this to start a fire in a survival situation or camping or whatever, all the gas is still in there. So you just got to be careful with these things as you have them in your bag and you're transporting them. So I actually have 2 Bic lighters in that one. There's a rule in survival, okay? One is none, 2 is 1, and 3 is 2. So basically what that says is you need to have some redundancy within your gear in case something fails. Now that doesn't necessarily mean you have to have 8 ways to start a fire or 7 ways to disinfect water, but you do need to have some backups. And I have backups, so I have a couple of different ways to start fires. I have the Bic lighters. I have a ferroseum rod. That's what this does. I won't do it since I'm inside the house, but this will spark and catch tinder and any flammable material on fire. So this will last much longer and give me many more fires than a lighter would. The mechanism inside this lighter that makes it spark is the same material that this is made out of. So, and this is also, I believe, an emergency whistle, so it kind of serves a dual survival purpose. So there are 2 ways right there that I can start a fire. I have a flashlight, and you noticed I turned the flashlight on and it didn't come on. It's because I have the batteries in backwards. That way it doesn't accidentally turn itself on during transport. And I know to open it up, turn the battery around, and I should have a working flashlight. So don't want to need light and then your battery's dead. Here's another way we can start a fire. 1 is none, 2 is 1, 3 is 2. So this is a magnesium fire starter. So what you do is you shave this magnesium off. Magnesium is extremely flammable. So you'll get a pile of these, scrape this off, you have a pile, and there's a ferroseum rod on the side of this magnesium fire starter. Relatively inexpensive, so I've got multiple ways to start a fire there. Look at there, another one. I'm gonna take that one out. Chapstick. Think about how uncomfortable chapped lips are in a cold or windy environment, or even during the summer if you're sunburned. Little bitty things like that and comfort are very important. So I'm not going to be thinking about grabbing the chapstick when I'm in a disaster or emergency situation. So let's just go ahead and have it. Doesn't hardly take up any room. So I actually have a pair of toenail clippers in mine because especially if you're going to be doing any hiking, anybody that's hiked with long toenails will tell you that it can actually get pretty painful. So I have a small compass, one of the cheaper ones, but I do have a compass. There is also a compass on this survival bracelet. Survival bracelets are a bit of a novelty, but you can actually get some pretty decent built ones. So this has actually a small ferroseum rod right here, which you could use to get spark and get a fire going. There is an emergency whistle on this as well if you want to be found. There's a small button compass, and then obviously you have a significant amount of paracord, which is going to be great for putting things together like shelters and whatnot. So 2 compasses. I've got my cordage. Just pull everything else out here and see what we got. I'm a smoker. I don't know where I'll be in my cigarette stash if something ever happens, so I have some nicotine gum if I need it from a failed attempt at trying to quit smoking at some point. So I've got some Imodium AD in case I get into some bad water and I don't want the diarrhea. I've actually got some caffeine pills if I don't need to go to sleep, if I need to stay awake. I've got some caffeine pills, no worse than drinking a cup of coffee. So just something cool to have. I want to have coffee with me. BC powders, anybody knows me knows I'm going to have some of those hid somewhere. I have a small spoon, spork actually, with some little wrench tools on it and a can opener. So, and this is probably the coolest thing that I have in the Maxpedition gear. It's a tiny survival guide, and I will link this in the comments. I'll link everything in the comments, but this tiny survival guide is, I mean, it's wallet sized, okay? And this thing I'm not going to open it up because it's like trying to fold a map, getting it back in, but how to survive almost anything. So wilderness, mishaps, civil unrest, surprise attacks, everything that SafePreps trying to prepare you for. This has got instructions on how to survive it. So it also comes with a little magnification lens. This takes up 0 room in your pack, and as long as the sun is out, you're going to have a way to start a fire. So pretty cool and relatively inexpensive. There is one in my bag, and there's also one in my wife's bag. Continuing on, I'll pass up the stuff that's just regular and not necessarily survival related. I have another flashlight. I like to have multiple flashlights, and I'll link the, I believe this is a bushel, 150 lumens. I keep a cat tourniquet with me at all times. Everybody needs to know how to use a cat tourniquet, especially for self-care. Keep a cell phone charger for my phone, and it's in my truck, but I also have the actual home wall plug for my cell phone. That goes in here when it's not in use. That way I can always charge my cell phone. So we'll go to the other pocket. I've got some thin gloves that have got a little bit of texture on them, just something to keep the chill off. I've got some regular surgical mask. I also have a N95 mask in there. Those are hard to keep in good shape in a bag like this unless you've got some kind of a case for them. Wipes. Okay, hygiene is very important. You may just need those because the kids spilled something in the truck. It doesn't have to be a disaster. So, water purification. And like I said, all of this gear goes in, if something actually happened, this gear is going to go into my whichever pack I'm deciding to use. So if it's I got to get home, I'm putting the important stuff in here that's going to keep me alive. Exposure, water, fire, and shelter. Those are the things that I'm going to put in the other bag. There's another flashlight. I like flashlights. Have a tactical pen. It's got a, you can do all sorts of damage with that, and you can actually write with it. I have a small PVC saw. Could be used as a weapon if I needed it to, but it would also probably saw through some small tree limbs if I needed to get a fire going, and pretty much weighs next to nothing. And I have a old cell phone that I have some of my survival apps downloaded to, and this keeps the charge on it. This is just a backup cell phone. Eventually it'll be in a Faraday cage. Can't afford all that right now. What I have chosen to use is the Sawyer Mini water filter. You can get these at Walmart and get them on Amazon. The other one that you probably heard of is Life Straw. It's the same type of mechanism. Clarifies the water the same way. The only difference is in the price and the amount of water that it can actually filter. So I think the Life Straw is about 1,000 gallons and this Sawyer Mini is about 100,000 gallons. So I'm going to get more use out of this with regular cleaning, which is part of that. It comes with a container, so I always have a container with me to carry water in, and then you've got your straw and your syringe to be able to actually drink and to be able to flush and purify the water. 1 is none, 2 is 1. That's one way to filter water, is with the filter. The other way is a chemical. So these are just the iodine tablets, and then the tablets take away the iodine taste. It's a specific measurement that you have to use on this, and you also have to wait 30 minutes. But this is an additional way for me to be able to disinfect water should I need to do that. So here's my multi-tool. It's a Gerber suspension. Everybody's got their favorite multi-tool, but it's got a saw, screwdrivers, everything your normal multi-tools have. I've had this for several years, and you've always got the tool you need for the job. So this stays in my bag. It's a little too bulky to carry on my belt, but it gets used about once a week. Some additional items. I have an emergency poncho. Now, obviously, I have a rain jacket and an umbrella in my truck, and I have those with me if it's raining already. But if I'm out and it starts raining and I don't have that stuff, I do have a poncho at least to protect me from the elements. This is another container to carry water in. Next to nothing as far as weight goes, so I don't mind carrying it. A headlamp, and you can put the batteries in these backwards as well, but a headlamp to keep your hands free could come in handy at any time, not just in a disaster scenario. Getting down to bare bones here. We got a couple of more items. Something else that I got into this year, I've told folks this was the year of hobbies for me and my wife. And I hope it was for you too, being at home and living a little different than we have been because of the virus. But one survival skill that is often overlooked is lock picking. They actually make a kit that is very inexpensive. It's a clear lock, okay, so you can see the mechanism within the lock, and there are instructions and a million videos on YouTube on how to pick locks, how to be good at it. It is not illegal to carry a lock pick set, like you may have heard, because I'm not planning on doing anything malicious with it. So this was a kit with the lock. Obviously there's a key, comes with a nice little pouch, and then several different types of lock picks and pressure devices. So I started learning on this lock, and actually about a month ago, it was a building we had access to, but we accidentally locked our selves out of a room, and I was like, hey, let me try, and sure enough, I picked the lock and was very proud of myself. So it's come in handy at least once, and I'll continue that journey and hopefully getting better. I always have something with me to write on. So these are Write in the Rain notepads. It's not that I think I'm going to be writing in the rain, but the way these things are constructed, if you go to Walmart and buy the cheap version of this, it's going to be in pieces within 2 weeks. These things are sturdy. I can carry them for months to a year in my pocket at work. I always have something reliable to write on, but they will write in the rain, and they also make pens and pencils that will work with this as well. So that's kind of everything that I have in my bag. Like I said, it changes on a pretty regular basis. I'm going to have my wallet with me, obviously, and my keys and all those things, but a lot of the survival gear is with me just to make me feel better. Plus, it's an opportunity for me to have a conversation with people about preparedness and tell them what I do for a living. But in the case of a disaster, if I have to go somewhere, this is either going to be with me, or the gear that is required to sustain life and for survival will be transferred out of this bag into the bag that I'm going to be using, because I just can't afford to put the same thing in every single bag. So, but I like having all that with me. You may not, but these are all good items. We'll have a full list for you, and we'll probably end up updating this eventually, because I've reorganized several bags today at the house. So looking behind me, so this is the ultralight pack that I'm working on right now, which would be the 72-hour basically get home bag if I had to walk home from Nashville or wherever. This is the bag that we carry in my wife's car. It's not necessarily something you would want to hike for 30 miles or even a couple of miles, but it just holds a lot of stuff. And then this gray bag over here holds a lot of my extra stuff that I would use depending on what the situation is. So one of my favorite parts of preparedness and survival is gear. So I hope to pass some of that knowledge on to you, because this is a really fun hobby, and we want you to get into it, because there's hobbies are fun, and being prepared for not just the big things, but the little things, flat tires, a fire, knowing how to call 911, those kind of things. So that's what we do here at SafePreps. If you need some help, want to get your family headed in the right direction, or just have some fun with some new camping gear, let us know. What you can do for us is like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and we hope to see you on the next video. We're going to try to put up 3 a week till we get going. So until next time, y'all be safe.